Hello, good people. I hope everyone is having a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening. It's your boy, Dr. Justin Grimes from Applied Graduate School. And today I'm here to talk about the three most common mistakes people make when they're completing their graduate school application. Now, I know that a number of you have already had the experience of completing several applications for several things. Maybe it was a loan for a car. Maybe it was information when you needed to go visit a doctor's office or a dentist office. Maybe you filled out application information for high school, right? Remember that? Remember we had to go through high school applications. Some of you all had to do the Common App or some other service that allows you to apply to multiple things at once. Maybe you fill out an application so you can get on the email newsletter of Chipotle or your favorite restaurant. In each of those applications, honestly, they're easy. They're not meant to be very difficult to work through. But I'm here to explain to you that the graduate school application process is not as simple as signing up to receive discounts, information, or text message from your favorite business. It requires a lot more. And I'm excited to get into it. And I'm going to start with the book, right? So, for those of you all who don't have it, you see all around me 20 questions to answer before you apply to graduate school. Excuse the glare. Okay. On page 83, I'm talking to you about the application. I say from the very beginning, the application is the most accessible yet most challenging part of getting into graduate school. Note that I did not say that taking a test. I did not say getting transcripts. I did not say interviewing. I did not say the personal statement. I said the most challenging part of the entire process of getting into graduate school is the application. And you may be saying, it's just an application, Dr. Grimes. Like, how difficult can it really be? You're asking me for my name, email address, other information. And I'm so glad you're thinking about that because I am going to explain to you that people make mistakes on the application, right? When you go sign up and you take an entrance exam, you filled out that application and then you actually go into the exam. There's no mistakes that you can make. You know the information, you select the answer, and you move forward. About the only mistake you can make is not confirming something probably at the beginning or the end. And there's safeguards throughout that process to ensure that you have done everything you needed to do in terms of getting your stuff submitted. You may say, what about the transcripts? How difficult really is it to get a transcript? You go onto the institution's website, typically, you request to get a copy of your transcript, you ask for a digital version or for them to mail it to someone. Once you submit your payment, it is out your hands. About the only mistake you can make there is submitting the wrong payment information or sending it to the wrong location. That's it. Two possible. You may say, but what about the personal statement? Clearly, I can make a lot of mistakes in that. No, because the personal statement is your opportunity to tell your story about what you've been doing, what you're interested in doing next, and how this degree will help you to be able to reach that opportunity, whatever that next is for you. What mistakes can you make on the personal statement or graduate school essay or whatever they want to call it? Is misspelling, grammar. That's the mistake you can make. But nobody can articulate your story better than you. So you can't make a mistake on your own story. Nobody can make up your goals except you. You can't make a mistake on your own goals. Nobody can make a mistake on the programs you're interested in except you because you're the one who knows. There's no mistakes to be had in that part of the process. You may say, but what about the letters of recommendation? What mistakes can clearly I can select the wrong person, but is that a mistake? How do you know that you selecting the wrong person is a mistake? Generally, that's going to happen based on the fact that you didn't get the information submitted on time, or you actually got a copy of it because you follow what's in the book. When I talk about getting a copy of the letter of recommendation or reference to be sent to you before you submit it and you read it and you realize this is not the right person. That's not a mistake made. It was that you selected the wrong person. You may call that a mistake. I will not call that a mistake for you. So I've already outlined majority of the parts of this process that are requirement. I talked about the transcript. I talked about the personal statement or graduate school essay. I talked about the letter of reference. That's it, right? Even in the end of the application, when you have to submit your application fee, and again, if you get the book, all right, I'll talk about this. You will have to pay the application fee, which averages between $75 and $200. What mistake can you make on the application fee other than submitting the wrong payment information? There's none. But here's the beauty of it. If you get the book, whether you get the physical copy like this or the digital downloaded version of it, it's going to teach you how to save that $75 to $200. There's a whole section dedicated towards getting an application fee waiver. So you're not even going to make a mistake by applying because you're not going to be paying for it as long as you follow the information in the book, right? Okay. So let's get into the mistakes that people make when they're applying to graduate school on the application. If you're ready, I want you to write the word ready. If you don't have a note, if you're not taking notes, I need you to get out a piece of paper. I didn't even say open a note of your phone. We're going real old school. We're going real historical. I need you to get out a physical piece of paper, y'all. Right next to me, I have a notepad and a pen. I take a lot of notes. I'm a copious note taker because I want to make sure that I don't forget something. So at the top, I want you to write 3 common mistakes people make on their graduate school application. And while you're doing that, I'm going to explain to you why these mistakes are so important. It's important because 25% of applications are never reviewed because of the mistakes that people make on their application. I'm going to repeat that back to you. 25%. That means if you and 4 of your buddies are applying to graduate, 3 of your buddies are applying to graduate school, one of you all is never going to have your information reviewed by any admissions committee. It's not getting past the admissions department to the faculty because of mistakes made on your application. And you're probably saying, well, how are they going to find these mistakes? Y'all know artificial intelligence is used in this process, right? You submit your information and documentation on a website. These days, often there is some form of AI that's scrubbing through, combing through, using certain types of code to be able to identify the information needed and necessary to say, yes, this person meets the qualifications and now can have their application materials reviewed. That's generally how this process is going. Where if there are some things that don't seem in alignment, or it then says, hey, this is a red flag, or there's too many red flags, cancel it. Okay. But today I'm going to give you the mistakes, right? 3 common mistakes people make on their graduate school application. You ready? You already wrote at the top. So here's number 1. Mistake number 1, misspelling your name or using a different name. Don't laugh, yo. Don't laugh. I know. How are you misspelling your name? It happens, people. We're human. We're going to, especially if you're applying to like 5 or more plus places. If you're applying to 5 or more plus places, we need to have a conversation because that, in my opinion, is way too many. Okay. 5 is a good like ending number. The people that I work with, my clients typically are applying from 3 to 5. We're reducing it down. If they have done everything that we have discussed, they are only applying to the top places that are going to meet their goals and their needs. These are the types of places that not only we are confident they're going to get in, but they're going to excel in. They're not going to quit when they apply to these programs. And one of the common things that I tell all of my clients to do, number 1, start with your resume or CV. Typically, you're going to probably have a CV. So I need you to start with you're not typically have a CV, a resume. Sorry about that. But I need you to go to that document. And at the very top, I need you to make sure that your name is spelled correctly. I need you to make sure that the name you have listed on your resume or your CV reflects that of any type of government document, social security card, government ID, driver's license, passport. I need it to reflect that. And you're like, but does it have to? Yes, because when they let you in, and if you receive some funding, you are then going to be given your funds are going to be taxed by the government, and you want to make sure that the information you have listed on the application that then gets sent to HR reflects the actual documentation provided to you by the U.S. government or your government where you from whatever country or place you're located that you now relocated to the U.S. for grad school. Okay, and people make this mistake. They may put their whole name on a resume or CV, but then only put a shortened name or the name most commonly known by their preferred name. This ain't the time for preferable names in treatment. You put on that document exactly what you need them to know. And I've seen this happen. People will have a name that seems Justin. I can easily forget based on the keyboard. I can easily press the word M instead of N. Based on the keyboard, I can easily press the word O instead of I. Based on the keyboard, I can easily press the word D instead of S. It happens. But the beauty of it is that you get a chance to review the final document to ensure that nothing is misspelled. But people do this, or they go by some different name. This is my nickname. Everybody know me as G, and G is what I apply for. Your name is Gideon. On your driver's license, it says Gideon. On your passport, it says Gideon. On your social security documents, it says Gideon. This is not the time for G. G can show up to the classroom. Gideon is the person applying. So make sure that you have spelled your name correctly on every document that you have. That's why I say start with on your documents your name every single time. And this is not even one of the mistakes, but in the book, again, on page 83, as I'm going through the requirements, the application requirements, generally every application is going to ask you for your name, your phone number, your physical address, and your email address. They may ask for a mailing address if it's something different, okay? Make sure this information is consistent across every single document. Don't change anything on something else, okay? I just want you to get your stuff through. I would hate for you to not, number one, have the book, but number two, to then apply and spend $200. Or let's just say you applied to 5 institutions. You've spent $1,000. And the reason why you've now wasted 400 of it because you didn't correctly assess or verify your name was spelled right or that you used the correct name. It happens. So you want to make sure. Okay. Mistake number 2, selecting the wrong program. Now, I'm not saying that, oh, I should have applied for this instead of this. No, it's not at all what I'm saying. What I am saying is that there are some institutions that have master's and doctoral degrees with the exact same title. A master's in clinical psychology, master's. They may even have some that are location bound. Let me give you a great example. In the program that I got my PhD in, there is a Gwinnett campus location. We are in the counseling and student services doctoral program, right? And so on there is Athens campus, there's Gwinnett campus, there is a EDD, and that's another campus location. Y'all, when I tell you this happens, and then they be calling the missions. I haven't heard anything back, and the missions got to have this uncomfortable. That's not going to be uncomfortable. Admissions has to share back to you and reveal back to you. Well, unfortunately, your application, you have selected this program, but what you're telling me is this program, and they have already completed their application reviews and sent out their offer letters. Imagine how you will feel. You done wrote the whole personal statement. You put it in there correctly in your personal statement. You put it in there correctly on your resume in terms of what you're interested in. You wrote the emails correctly to the right department that you were connecting to and talking with. But when you got on that application, you selected something completely different and you didn't go back and check to verify. If you take nothing else from anything I say, please verify your information once you submitted it. Okay? That's the mistake that people make, is selecting the wrong program. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to make sure that you are applying for the right master's if it's a master's, the right doctorate if it's a doctorate, the right campus location, the right semester, all aspects of this, okay? And the last mistake people make is rushing the process. I get it. You're busy and you got a lot going on in life. And you don't want to make a mistake. I know that your intention is never to make the mistake, but it happens because, again, you're human. And so you see that the deadline is like December 31, and now we're on the holiday break. Oh, we're past that point. Okay, so now you see the deadline is February the 1st. It is now January the 21st at the time of this recording, 2025. And you're rushing now. And I'm being honest, you're rushing now at this point. Because my clients, I require them, you must submit all your materials at least a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks. Typically, I tell them 15 to 20 business days ahead of the application deadline. Why? Because I don't want you to be met with any type of error issues that come directly from the application website. I want you to have time to review your stuff. I want you to have time to make sure that if you want to change anything, you change anything. I want, if you decide you want to cancel this application, you can cancel it and get refunded. But once you have submitted and it passed a certain number of days, that's it. There's nothing you can do about it. And people begin to, because they are procrastinators, because they get a thrill out of rushing at the last minute, because they're not carving out intentional time to apply to this, because they're not making sure that they have set a date and time to submit their stuff. They're working in incremental steps throughout this application process, getting everything submitted. They're rushing and they overlook something. Then they find themselves amongst the 25% whose information is never reviewed. And you may be like, how do you know this, Dr. Grimes? When my office has always, when I was a recruiter and working in graduate admissions as a recruiter, working in the space of DEI, working in the space of student support for graduate students, I was always right next to admissions. And I would hear the phone call. Sometimes a phone call would come to me and I'm talking to the person. And I can even see where your information is on a portal, right? I can look on Slate management system and see your stuff is not complete. And they sent you an email on this date, this date, this date, and this date. They don't care that your email went to spam or that you didn't see it until now. You are responsible for getting yourself to the end of this. They are not going to be responsible. It's only adults that apply to graduate school. There are no children. So you've got to make sure that you're holding yourself accountable to not rushing and getting these things done, y'all. So again, the 3 common mistakes people make when they apply to graduate school. Number 1, misspelling or using a different name. Number 2, selecting the wrong program. Or number 3, rushing. And if you don't want to find yourself doing this, you say, I really need a timeline. We've got that in the book or things on our website. You don't need to be putting yourself in a predicament that won't allow you to have your stuff reviewed. You now know the 3 most common mistakes. And I don't want you to take for granted or laugh this off like, yeah, okay, I hear you. Okay, so all I got to do is be early. Listen, it happens. The number 25% wasn't made up. I've talked to admissions folks all previously, and I'm still talking to them. How many did y'all have to reject because something was wrong? Yeah, we probably up to about 10% of our applicants. Or we're about 35% of our applicants. Did you send the emails? We sent the emails. We even got a text message automated service now that goes out. Wow. And they still didn't fix it. Nope. You don't want to be in that number, y'all. You now know the mistakes that people make when they apply to graduate school on the application, and now you don't have to do them because you're better for it. Again, my name is Dr. Justin Grimes, founder and owner of Apply to Graduate School, where we help individuals find graduate programs aligned with their goals and their needs. And we look forward to working with you. If you have any questions about graduate school, the application, writing your essays, interviewing, any aspect of the process, that is what we are here for, to ensure that you increase your chances of getting in. Nobody's 100% guaranteed, but we have a great track record where 92% of our applicants are getting admitted into the programs that they are applying for. And one of the ways we're doing that is helping them to avoid making some of the common mistakes you just learned today. Have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to meeting with you at applytograduateschool.com.